We all know Germany, right? Europe's industrial giant, famous for its incredible engineering and manufacturing. But here's the thing. In today's digital world, that's just not enough. So Germany is making this huge multi-billion euro bet to completely pivot and try to secure its place as the continent's tech leader. And look, this isn't just some PR fluff. That quote you see, it's not from some fancy tech conference. It's pulled directly from the government's official coalition agreement. That is a huge deal. It signals a massive shift, basically putting AI at the very center of the country's entire economic strategy. So, how exactly are they planning to pull this massive transformation off? Well, that's what we're going to break down. First, we'll get into the wake-up call that kind of forced their hand. Then, the grand plan to become an AI nation. We'll look at the digital foundation they're building, how they plan to boost their famous businesses, and even how they're trying to rewrite the rules for tech. And finally, we'll talk about what this all means for the future. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the wake-up call. Because really, to get why Germany's making such a dramatic move, you've got to understand the problem they woke up to. And this is where it gets really interesting, kind of paradoxical, actually. On one side, Germany is an absolute powerhouse at creating super advanced tech, things like complex semiconductors. But on the other side, they're falling behind on the basics. We're talking about really fundamental stuff, like getting fast internet to everyone's homes, having enough people with digital skills, and even just being able to do simple government stuff online. And this chart, wow, it really tells the story, doesn't it? That smaller slice shows Germany's coverage for real high-speed fiber internet. It's just half the EU average. That was a massive red flag. You just can't build a high-tech future on old, slow infrastructure. Something had to give, and it had to happen fast. So when you're faced with a reality like that, what do? Well, Germany's response wasn't to take a few small steps. Nope, they went all in with a huge, bold vision to become Europe's absolute, undisputed leader in artificial intelligence. And they are absolutely backing this up with some serious cash. Just look at that number. We are talking over 100 billion euros. And this isn't for just one project. This money is being spread out over 50 different initiatives, all with one single goal, to rocket Germany into the digital age. So you might be wondering, where is all that money going? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is just building the raw computing power you need for AI. I mean, you can't develop cutting-edge models without absolutely massive server farms. And that's exactly why a core part of their plan is to build what they're calling a national AI gigafactory. And again, this isn't just some vague idea. The plan gets super specific. We're talking about setting up a pool of at least 100,000 GPUs, the graphics processors that are the real engines of AI, and making them available specifically for researchers and universities. It's really about giving more people the tools they need to create the next big thing. Okay, so you've got this massive engine, this AI gigafactory. But what good is a powerful engine if you don't have roads to drive on? All that power is useless if data can't move at lightning speed. And that brings us right to our next section, building the digital foundation. This is what they call their gigabit strategy, and it's all about building the digital superhighways for all that AI traffic. And they've set some seriously ambitious deadlines. By the end of 2025, the goal is to have half of all homes and businesses hooked up to fiber. A year after that, uninterrupted mobile service everywhere. And then the big one. By 2030, the plan is to have top-of-the-line fiber and mobile tech for the entire country. So they're building these incredible digital highways. But who's actually going to be driving on them? And that question brings us to a really critical part of the whole strategy: empowering the true engine of the German economy. And that engine is the Mittelstand. You've probably heard the term. It refers to the thousands of small and medium-sized businesses, often family-owned, that are total world leaders in their specific niche markets. I mean, these guys aren't just the backbone of the German economy. They're the ones who will actually use all this new technology to compete on the world stage. So for this whole digital pivot to work, you absolutely have to get them on board. So how do you do that? How do you get thousands of different businesses, all with their own challenges, on the same page? Well, you do it with a really structured plan. Their Mittelstand-Digital program is designed to tackle the biggest hurdles they face. So you have innovation hubs for knowledge and networking, cybersecurity initiatives to keep them safe, and this is the big one, direct cash grants to help them actually afford to invest in all this new tech. But Germany's plan isn't just about throwing money around and laying cable. No, it's also about changing the rules of the game, shaping the legal playing field.
And they're pushing a proposal that could be a real game changer, one that involves rewriting one of the most famous tech laws in the world.
The idea is actually pretty simple, but the impact could be profound. Think about it. Right now, if a small business uses a piece of software that breaks Europe's big data protection law, the GDPR, who's responsible? The small businesses. They're on the hook. Germany wants to flip that completely. They want to shift the legal blame away from the user and put it right where it belongs, on the company that actually made the software. And the big idea here is really just to make things simpler and more consistent. They want to line up the data privacy rules with new laws coming for cybersecurity and AI. That way, you end up with one clear, powerful principle. If you build the tech, you are responsible for making sure it's safe and legal. End of story. Okay, so Germany has this bold vision, a ton of money, and a plan to change the rules. But what does the road ahead actually look like? What challenges are still in the way? And maybe more importantly, what should businesses be thinking about, like, right now? Yeah, because for all the planning, there are still some major hurdles. For one, there's a huge skills gap, a shortage of IT pros to actually build and run all this stuff. Then there's good old-fashioned bureaucracy, slow permit processes that can hold up construction. And finally, getting regular people to actually use new things like the National Digital ID, well, that's been a bit of a slow burn. So if you're running a business, what's the takeaway? The message is loud and clear. This train is leaving the station. It's time to map out your own AI strategy. You need to get your head around the new rules for AI and GDPR. You should definitely be looking into the government funding and pilot programs that are popping up. And yeah, it's time to invest in training your own people and maybe even get involved in some of these real-world labs to test things out. So there you have it. Germany has pushed all its chips to the center of the table. The ambition is massive, the investment is historic, and the plan literally touches everything from fiber optic cables in the ground to the legal definition of who's responsible for code. The only question left is the big one. Will this giant strategic pivot be enough to make Germany the country that defines Europe's digital future?